Well, AOC, and let me know if you believe this, is saying that MAGA Republicans are coming up to her and say, man, I was wrong about Trump. I'm with socialism now. Do you buy that?
Absolutely not. In fact, I'd like to see some of the people who actually said that to AOC and check their ballots and see if they actually voted for President Trump, because I can assure you MAGA Republicans oppose everything that AOC and the modern day Communist Democrat Party stands for. Mass migration and open borders like we saw under the Biden administration.
Clip 1. AOC is now pushing a bold new claim. She insists a growing wave of MAGA voters are experiencing regret, abandoning Donald Trump, and preparing to line up behind Democrats heading into 2028. According to her, the shift is already happening beneath the surface, with former Trump supporters quietly distancing themselves and warming to the DNC's vision for the future.
Men and women's sports is something MAGA Republicans and frankly the whole country rejects. It's a 90-10 issue, taxing people to death and taking their money and giving the majority of your income back to the government. That's a horrible idea that has not worked for thousands of years.
Karoline Leavitt wasn't buying it for a second. She rejected AOC's claim outright and fired back with one of the sharpest clapbacks of the year. No hedging. No soft language. Just a direct challenge that questioned not only AOC's narrative, but her grasp on political reality.
I fully welcome Trump voters into our coalition. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but just hear me out. I cannot tell you, it just happened to me like 2 weeks ago. I can't tell you how many times someone has pulled me aside and said either I was once a big Trump voter and a Trump supporter, but then I started to kind of expand my world and where I got information, and now I've learned and now I've changed and I'm with you.
AOC laid out her theory online, arguing that Trump voters support him for one main reason: media influence. In her view, they sit in front of Fox News, absorb talking points, and never think for themselves. She dismisses economic pressure entirely. Not grocery prices. Not rent. Not gas. Not inflation. She also waves away voter backlash against woke policies pouring out of Washington, insisting none of that mattered. To her, it's all brainwashing. Karoline Leavitt heard that explanation and saw pure arrogance. Her response flipped the narrative on its head and exposed just how dismissive that mindset really is.
The president just dealt with Chuck Schumer, and President Trump and Republicans shellacked Chuck Schumer and the entire Democrat Party. After 43 days of Chuck standing out there trying to bravely hold the country hostage and inflict massive pain on the American public, Chuck got absolutely nothing, and now the knives are out for him. As you can see, Jesse, as you just perfectly laid out in your monologue, the Democrat Party is in complete disarray, and the truth is, they have been for 10 years since President Trump came on the political scene.
And here's the uncomfortable truth Democrats keep avoiding. Since Trump announced his return, the DNC has looked rattled and directionless. One frantic move followed another. Accusations, investigations, courtroom drama, all hyped as game-changing moments that ultimately fizzled. Russia collusion dominated headlines for years, yet never delivered the knockout blow promised. Insults replaced arguments. Mockery replaced strategy. And still nothing stuck. If anything, Trump's base grew stronger, while his critics appeared increasingly desperate.
They don't stand for anything good. They just stand for Donald Trump is bad. That's the only thing that unifies their party. And now you see how far they are moving to the left. They ran Senator Gillibrand and Senator Manchin out of town. Now they're running Chucky Schumer out of town. It's too bad he turned into a Palestinian. He did it for nothing, like President Trump says, because his own party is turning against him. And the Democrat Party is truly becoming a full-blown communist party.
Karoline Leavitt then aimed directly at Democratic leadership. She argues the party has lost control of itself, dragged so far left that even longtime figures like Chuck Schumer now seem out of step with their own base. According to her, the loudest activists now run the show. One misstep, one hint of moderation, and Democrats are branded traitors by their own side. Instead of governing, the party is consumed by purity tests, internal attacks, and ideological infighting, and voters are noticing.
men in women's sports is something MAGA Republicans and frankly the whole country rejects. It's a 90-10 issue, taxing people to death and taking their money and giving the majority of your income back to the government. That's a horrible idea that has not worked for thousands of years. MAGA Republicans know it, and that's why they overwhelmingly voted to re-elect President Trump.
Leavitt surgically dismantles AOC's claim that MAGA voters secretly regret supporting Trump. She demands evidence, names, numbers, proof, and says none exists. Then she explains why Trump's support was never mysterious. Voters reacted to aggressive woke policies, men competing in women's sports, medical decisions involving minors, and a growing flirtation with socialism. Ignoring those concerns doesn't erase them. It amplifies them. And dismissing voters only guarantees more will walk away.
MAGA Republicans know it, and that's why they overwhelmingly voted to re-elect President Trump. And a Democrat that you had in your monologue actually was right about one thing. I don't know his name, but I give him credit for his statement where he said that the Republican Party under President Trump is the party of the working man and woman. And because of President Trump's pro-growth, America First policies, he has spoken directly to the hearts of the forgotten men and women across this country. And that's who the Republican Party is today, thanks to him.
This is the reality Democrats refuse to confront. Trump didn't win by impressing elites or chasing online applause. He spoke directly to middle America, people worried about jobs, prices, crime, and stability. Meanwhile, the DNC focused on coastal elites, corporate donors, and activist circles. Voters didn't get solutions. They got lectures, labels, moral scolding. Trump made people feel heard. Democrats made them feel dismissed. And that difference mattered.
Well, we'll have to see. And I'm very curious. I'll have to find out from our great Attorney General Pam Bondi if the Trump DOJ is continuing this investigation that the Biden DOJ launched. Jesse, it's a good question, and we will get on that. But as for Gavin Newsom, I was not surprised to see him in Brazil, traveling the world, probably on the taxpayer dime, talking about climate change when his state, California, has some of the highest energy costs in the entire country.
Leavitt then turns her fire toward Gavin Newsom, calling out what she sees as blatant hypocrisy. She slams him for preaching climate virtue while presiding over some of the highest energy costs in the country. Families struggle to pay power bills while politicians celebrate green policies from behind podiums. According to Leavitt, the agenda sounds noble but hits working-class Californians the hardest. People who can't afford electric cars, solar panels, or elite alternatives.
We have some of the highest gasoline prices in the entire country, despite President Trump's efforts. And they are working to bring down oil and gas prices in this country, to drill, baby, drill, to unleash American energy dominance. Gavin has done so much damage to his state with the Green New scam and with this utopian pursuit of climate change that is just so false. It's built on a fallacy that he has run up energy costs in his state that people are fleeing his state.
The consequences are already visible. Families and businesses are leaving California in droves. High taxes, suffocating regulations, and endless bureaucracy are pushing small businesses to the brink. Instead of easing the burden, Newsom doubles down. Companies relocate. Jobs vanish. Communities weaken. And leadership acts shocked. Leavitt calls it a failure of accountability, the kind anyone paying attention could have predicted.
So maybe he should leave Brazil and stop talking about this issue that is hurting his own people and get back to governing what was once a beautiful state of California that people are fleeing en masse because of his horrific energy and economic policies that have made the cost of living in California completely out of control.
Yeah, the climate scam's kind of like DEI. It's dead, and it's never coming.
Leavitt voices what millions of Californians already feel. Newsom needs to stop chasing headlines and start fixing the basics. Lower the cost of living. Cut bloated bureaucracy. Make energy affordable and reliable. Ease the tax burden driving people out. Leadership isn't about slogans or national ambition. It's about making life livable. Until Democrats face why voters are fed up, no amount of spin will stop the backlash already underway. That's the reality hitting the DNC head-on.